the header part and body part. So in the header, so both the header part and body part will be included within the HTML open and closed tag, right? So generally, whatever we are declaring with whatever we are using the tags within the header files, so that will not be visible on the website except the title name. The title name will be displayed on the website. So that is the body. So whatever you are whatever you want to display on the website, everything should be displayed. So whatever you write within the body of the HTML, that means in the HTML, whatever you write, any information that will be displayed on the website, on the web page. So in the previous class already we have studied, that is the body tag, right? HTML tag already we have studied, the title tag we have studied, head tag we have studied, and next body tag. So in the body tag is also, so already in the previous class I explained that body tag contains mainly 4 important attributes, right? So that means attribute will specify the property of the body. So suppose the body tag is like this body, or suppose if you want to give the background color, so then we can use the BG color attribute. Generally the BG color attribute is used to, so that is the fill the background with a specified color, or body tag, so that is the background attribute. That background attribute, suppose if you want to set the background with image, or suppose other image as a background to the web page, so then we can use the background property of that. So in the previous class already I have shown that. And next, text color. Suppose if you want to display the text as a red color, white color, blue color, like that. And another one is the text color. The text is also the text attribute, already we have studied. And the next, link. Suppose whatever you are using the links within the body, so we can use the color of the link, unvisited link, or that is the active link. So that is when you are clicking on that, the color will be changes. Or V-link means already visited link color will be changes. So there are so many attributes are there, but very important attributes are, one is the BG color and background, link, A-link and V-link. So these are the main attributes of that body thing. So already in the previous class already I explained, I wrote program on this one. So in this class, so for example, whenever you are using that a text property, so text properties. So before going to write the text, suppose when you are using the text property, generally, so what are the text properties are there? Suppose, so when you see MS Word, MS document, or for example, whenever you see the document, you can find the different things like this. For example, you see that one of the technique, for example, here you see that papers, suppose whenever see the papers are like this, or otherwise you see that my biodata form. So in this biodata form, so simply I have created the table. So that means here is the text and simply I am using table. But here is the profile is nothing but a profile is a bold letters. Profile contains bold letter, and here is I am using image. But here is all our capital letters are there, and next that is the roll number. So that is the phone number we had given, and different things. For example, when you see that headings, here is we are seeing that heading. But when you see that heading, so this heading is bigger than these headings, right? Or there may be subheadings are there, or some cases I am using the italic letters, or some cases I am using some paragraphs for writing. But in this case, you see that some links are received outstanding scientist award. Suppose this is the capital letters and there is a bold space, and this is the subheading, or different cases. Suppose the list of publications, table is also I am using, or different things. So these are the properties, but how to display the text on the screen? So that means there are different things are there. So first one you see that the basic formatted attributes. Suppose if you want to display the text, we can use the basic text formatted instructions. Here is, so suppose we can use the h1 tag. So suppose here is the text properties, h1 tag. When you see that, so h1 tag is used for heading purpose. Suppose in the documentation we can see the main heading or subheading or like that. So that means here is, so suppose if we want to display the characters in the bigger format or so suppose bigger format, then we can use the h1 to h6. But here is h1 tag. When you are using the h1 tag, for example, you see that heading 1 is there. So for example, you see that, so here is the h1 tag is there. When you are using the h1 tag, in between that, whatever you write the text, h1 heading 1 example slash h1. But when you are writing that, here is the heading example will be written like this. For example, so here is the heading will be bigger. Suppose when you are using the h2 tag, so the heading is somewhat different between this one. That means, so that is the 1 inch. So suppose, so one position of image size, one image size will be decreasing, or like this, yeah, h1, h2, h3 up to h6. But when you are using the h6, automatically, so that will be the very smaller size, right? So then you write down the text properties. So that is for h question mark, you can use the h. H tag is used for displaying the headers. H tag is used for displaying the heading of the data. So then you see that, for example, so there are three basic things are there. So for example, you see that here is HTML. So that is the head, and here is, suppose when you are using the head and the title, so text property, text properties. So here is properties. So then we can close it. So next head is closed. So then here is slash head, and next suppose here is that body of that, but here is I am not using any attributes. So otherwise you can use the BG color or background or text or color text, or so suppose link or H, so that is the a link also we can use, but here is I am not using anything. Suppose whatever you write the text here is, suppose, so this is YSR engineering college, engineering COLLEGE college, right? So that is the second CSE students. Suppose when you are using that, here is I am closing the body, but here is whatever you write in between that body and this one, so it will be printed like this, HTML. Generally you see that you see the text, that is here is, so all files, and this is text properties dot HTML. So then here is we are using this. But whenever you are using this text properties, then you click on that. Only this is YSR Engineering College second year CSE students. So ఒకే లైన్ లో మనకు సేమ్ డేటా అనేది ఒకే లైన్ లో వచ్చేసేసింది, CSE or data of this one, right? But here is, suppose whenever I am using the same thing, but suppose here is the CSE, if you want to highlight the CSE, so suppose only, so this college is, so this is the YSR Engineering College, but here is I am keeping that H1, suppose H1 CSE or H1 tag. So that is H1 means that is the header 1. But when you use this, so suppose same thing when you are using this, then you see that. So that is the size of the text should be increased. That means heading. So that is for displaying the heading of the documentation, we can use H tag. H tag can be used for different types of H tags are used for, so different displaying different sizes of headings, So, but here is we are taking, this is the first heading 1, or same thing. For example, so suppose you see that same value we can use. So, but here is heading 1. Or something like this. Suppose here is a 2. I am taking H2 tag, H3 tag, H4 tag, and H5. H5 tag, and the next one is H6. So there are 6 types of headings are there. H6 are like this. So H1 means, so that is the top, that is the larger size it will be printing. Then you see that. So this is the header 1, this is the header 2, this is the header 3, this is header 4, this is header 5, and this is header 6. So suppose here is, while displaying the document, or suppose in the website, suppose if you want to give the name, we can choose any one of the headings for displaying the text. Have you understood that? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Is
Yes,
it
sir.
audible, Amma?
Audible, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So ఇక్కడ వచ్చేసి హెడ్డింగ్ ప్రింట్ అవ్వాలంటే ట్యాగ్. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద ఫస్ట్ టెక్స్ట్, బేసిక్ టెక్స్ట్ ప్రాపర్టీ ఈస్, సో సపోజ్ వెన్ ఎవర్ యూ సీ ద డాక్యుమెంటేషన్ వీ కెన్ ఫైండ్ దట్, సో దట్ మెయిన్ టైటిల్, subtitles or subtitles like that. So if you want to print the title of the documents or title of the web pages, we can use the H tag. So that is the different types of H tags. So here is H tag means, H1 tag means that is the, so bigger size that will be displaying. Next H2, H2, H3, H4 up to 6. There are 6 header tags are there. That is H1, H2, H3. It is a paired tag. It is a paired tag. You see that. So this is the paired tag, and we can use the values of this one, H1, H2, H3. This is the values. For example, so when you are using this, suppose, so I have understood that is the H1. What is the use of that H tag? So there are different types of 6 different types of H tags are used for displaying the title of the documentation. That is from H1 to H6. But when you are using the H1, the title is a bigger. So but next H2 means, so that is the one font size is less, and H3 means one font size is less, one font size is less, one font size is less, up to that. So otherwise this is the same as it is. But another one is, you see that, but when you are printing the data, so suppose here is we are printing the data of this, so then you see that what it will do. Here is the same web page, and here is refresh chesthe mana kottaga execute avutundamma. Here you can see that this is YSR Engineering College and second year students. But when you see this in the document, actually this is YSR Engineering College, and here is we are taking CSC students. So రెండు వచ్చేసేసి ఒకే డాక్యుమెంటేషన్ లో మనకు డిఫరెంట్ గా ఉన్నాయి. అంటే so that is this is YSR Engineering College is a one line, and the second year students is another line. But when you are seeing that another line of this, but actually in the results we can find that both are on the same line. Whatever text you can consider. For example, here is we are taking like this. Or next one is, you see that, suppose here is I am typing the text. So then here is when you are using this text, and so now you can see that entire text. Suppose here is, so entire text is on the same line. For example, if you want to break the line, suppose if you want to print the text, so that is the line by line. So for this purpose, we can use the break, BR tag. You note it down. BR tag is used for, displaying. BR tag is used for, breaking the line. BR tag is used for breaking the line. So for example, same thing you see that, where is that? Okay. So that is here, you see that. Another one is the break statement is there. So suppose the BR. So I think you understood that is the basic tag headings. If you want to print the headings, we can use the 6 headings H1 to H6 or BR, break line. The content of your page, or suppose when you see that, in that case, so whenever you are using this break statement, or here is, suppose you see that in the content, so we can see that here is the break is there. You see that here is BR tag. When you are using the BR tag, so that will be displayed on the next page. So for example, so in that case, so in this case, for example, so when you see that so when you see this, and here is I am writing that is a break. Suppose here is after this I am writing break command. Suppose BR, we can use the BR. It is a single command. You see that here itself is a break. So BR tag is a single page tag. So it is used to break the lines. For example, again I am keeping here is another BR statement. Wherever I can use the BR, so then that will be, so here is also I am using BR. BR means break the line, and here is also I am using BR. But when you see this BR statements, so automatically it breaks the BR. BR means that is it breaks the lines. So now we execute this program, and you can use the, suppose the same thing here is, you see that text is in the same line. So but when you are using the BR, then you are getting line by line. It breaks the data into line by line. So for example, in each, suppose if you want to write something about our Vice Chancellor, right? So in that case, yes, suppose when you are writing within a one paragraph, so then that will be printed in the line. Suppose if you want to print a document in the formatted way, so that means the each line contains 80 characters, or that is each page that contains the 20 lines like that. But in that cases, by using BR instruction, so we can break the line. So if you want to print the data line by line, we can use the break BR statement, right? So I have understood that BR statement. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yeah, BR. So BR means, so break the lines. So in the C programming, we are using the /n. Instead of /n, here is we are using only, so within the angular brackets we can write BR. BR is used breaking the line of the data. That is the second property of the text. That is the second property of the text. But when you see that second property, so next third property is, so you see that the third property of this one is, so basic means that is the P. So paragraph, when you see that wherever you want to display the data, so you have to display data in the paragraph by paragraph. So for this purpose we can use the P tag. So generally P tag is used to display the paragraphs. Generally P tag is used for displaying the data in the form of paragraph, right? But here is, you see that, so instead of using this break statement, for example, I am using, instead of this break statement, I can use the paragraph. Suppose, for example, So here is the PR. So the same thing we can use. Suppose here is the students, then we can use the PR. So that is only P. P is a break statement. Or next, whenever you are using the break statement of that P, and here is I am taking that these two lines I am making it as a paragraph. So then here is again I am using the second one is the another paragraph PR, and here is I am taking that is the another one is /P. So but when P tag, when you are using that P tag, you see that gaps are there. మనం టెక్స్ట్ బుక్స్ లో చూసింటాం ఒక పారాగ్రాఫ్ మధ్యన గ్యాప్ వస్తుంది. సో కాబట్టి అలాగా సపోజ్ వెన్ ఎవర్ టేకింగ్ ది ఎంటైర్ టెక్స్ట్, ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు గివ్ ది గ్యాప్, ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు స్పెసిఫై ది paragraph, so then we can use the P tag. So this is also very generalized basic format property of the text. So then here is the P tag is used for, so generally the P tag is used for displaying the suppose used to display the paragraphs, data in the form of paragraphs like that. So here is, you see that here is this will be having the syntax of this one is you see that last I am writing. So suppose the P, so whatever you write in between this, it is a syntax /P. So it is a paid tag. Whatever you write in between open tag and close tag of P tag, so that will be considered as a one paragraph. So whatever the text in the above the before the P tag, after the closed P tag, that will be considered as different paragraphs. Okay, text no, if you want to make it as a paragraph, we can use the P. So that is the P tag is used for, so that is the displaying the values of this one. So another one is, for example, when you are using that, suppose when you display the data, you see that when you display the data, so the data should be printing like this in the first bar. So if you want to print the data at the center, so then here is we can use the align. But actually most of the browsers, so that is this is outdated. So data is RIGHT. So that is H1 tag will having align attributes. H tag is having align attributes. ALIGN, align is equal to right, means that data will be displayed at the right side, or left means data should be displayed left to side. So as it is by default it prints in the left side, and next that is so align equal to center. Line is equal to center. So when we are using that, some data will be displaying at the center point. So then you see that, so the same data when you are using that, but actually here is this is not working, and this is outdated. అక్కడ వచ్చేసినప్పుడు ఏంటంటే మనకు టెక్స్ట్ ప్రాపర్టీలో సో అలైన్ ప్రాపర్టీ సారీ ALIGN కదా, సారీ LIGN అలైన్ ప్రాపర్టీ GN అండ్ GN. చూద్దాం ఇది వర్క్ అవుతుందా లేదా. అలైన్ రైట్, అలైన్ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు రైట్ ప్రాపర్టీ. యు సీ దట్ రైట్ సైడ్ కి వచ్చేసేసింది, ఇది వచ్చేసేసి ఇక్కడ. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద స్టూడెంట్ థింగ్ వచ్చేసేసి రైట్ సైడ్ ప్రింట్ అయింది. సో కాబట్టి ఇక్కడ వచ్చేసేసినప్పుడు వెన్ యూ ఆర్ యూజింగ్ ద అలైన్, అలైన్ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు రైట్, అలైన్ ఈజ్ లెఫ్ట్, align is center. So suppose when you are using align property as center, so then the data should be printed in the center point. So then you see that, so center lo vachindi. So align attributes, that is the H1 is contains the align attributes, or sometimes we can use for example, suppose you can use the color properties also we can give red, color properties also we can give red, green, blue or something like this. But when you are using that, sorry, ikkada color property is also not there for this, but we can use the style of this. Suppose style style is equal to or within the bracket we can use colon of this one. So ante manam CSS use cheyali ikkada use chesinappudu then it will come red. So kabatti ikkada chesinappudu red color lo ravalante style is equal to color ani ichesi ikkada center annappudu then, but h1 will having only one property. So second one is the break. Suppose when you are using that break and the next one is the p paragraph, that data will be printing paragraph by paragraph like this. So for example, sometimes if we want to write the pre-formatted data, but here is, so that is suppose whenever are using this data, suppose in the web page, so not only in the left side, not only in the right side, and not only in the center, sometimes you have to display it middle of the page. So that is in between middle and left, in between center and right. So in that cases, so then we can use the pre statement. Suppose here is the pre. So that is the pre statement can be used to display. So the data pre-formatted data. So that is the pre tag can be used pre. We can write pre. So then here is when you are using that pre tag is used to so display the text at any specified cases. For example, here is I am writing like this, and so suppose here is the break, line by line I am displaying. Or next one is suppose here is also another data, here break, br and free slash, suppose the slash pre. So when you are using that, so then it is a tag. When you see that it is a tag, here is the pre is we are using. Pre means that is the pre-formatted. Wherever you want, you can print that specified data. For example, you see that here is a closing. Then you see that data is displayed as it is here is so like this. కానీ ఇక్కడ చూసినప్పుడు అంతా ఒకటే లైన్ లో వస్తుంది, ఇక్కడ అంతా ఒకటే లైన్ లో వస్తుంది. కానీ ఇక్కడ నేను ఏదైతే డిస్ప్లే చేశానో మధ్యన గ్యాప్ ఇచ్చానో అది వస్తుంది. ఒకవేళ అలా కాకుండా ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ సేమ్ థింగ్, సో ఐ విల్ ప్రింట్ హియర్ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్. Suppose I will print here. I will print like this. But when you are using that, so automatically the text will be printed there only. You see that. So akkada nunchi ikkadiki vachesesindi. But here is this text is not in the left side, not in the center, and not in the right side. But wherever you want, you can keep like this. This is called pre. So that is the pre-formatted tag. Pre is a used for pre is a pre-formatted tag. Wherever you want, you can print the text like this. Suppose ikkada idi ikkada pettamu, idi vachesi indulo pettamu. So now you see that. Then you can see that. So ee line ikkada ochindi, ee line ikkada ochindi, ee line ikkada undi. But as it is like this. So this is the pre. So I have understood that. Hello.
Yes sir.
So pre format ante entante manaku text vachesi ikkada idi formatted gaane print avutundi, ekkada poina gaani kuda formatted ga print avutundi. So but whenever you are using here itself, so ikkada pre ani chesinappudu wherever you want, you can print the text. For example, so in the web pages you can see that, suppose in the documentation we can see that formulas are start in between, middle lo start అవుతాయి. సో మిడిల్ లో స్టార్ట్ అయ్యి లాస్ట్ వరకు వచ్చేస్తుంది. సో కాబట్టి ఇక్కడ వచ్చేసేసినప్పుడు ఏంటంటే సపోజ్ ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు మేక్ ఇట్ యాజ్ ఎ ప్రీ ఫార్మేటెడ్, సో ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ద ఫస్ట్ స్టేట్మెంట్, సో జనరల్లీ సో ఫ్రమ్ ది పారాగ్రాఫ్ టు పారాగ్రాఫ్, సో ద ఫస్ట్ అంటే పారాగ్రాఫ్ నెక్స్ట్ పారాగ్రాఫ్ స్టార్ట్ అవుతుందంటే దీని నుంచి నెక్స్ట్ కొంత గ్యాప్ రావాలి, అంటే ఒక టాప్ గ్యాప్ వచ్చేసేసి స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది. So that's why, so here is we can write the pre-formatted. Generally this pre-formatted can be used for displaying the text wherever you want. There is no specific format. But even you use this H1, suppose here is entire code is there, no. Suppose here is write the code, but here is the text will be displayed only at the corner, only at the left side. Or suppose here is I am using this text like this. ఇప్పుడు మనం ఇలా ఇచ్చామనుకోండి, సపోజ్ ఇక్కడ ఇచ్చేసేసినప్పుడు whenever you are using that, so here is the text will be printed on the same row, but ఇక్కడ మనం సెంటర్ లో యూజ్ చేసినా కానీ కూడా అది అక్కడే యూజ్ అవుతుంది. కాబట్టి అక్కడ వచ్చేసేసినప్పుడు then we can use the value. I think you understood that. Emma?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So another property of the text one is the free. These four are called the basic properties. These are called the basic properties. What are the basic properties according to your textbooks? So according to your textbooks, so that is the header is a basic break. Property. So next break, BR statement is a basic property, and next paragraph is a basic property, and next one is pre is a basic property, because here is text. So first one is we can specify in any documentation we can use the headings or subheadings like this. For giving up that we can use the H1 to H6 heading tags. So H1 tag will display the text in the bigger size, whereas when coming down to up to that is 6, that is H6 will display a smaller size. So suppose here is when you are typing the data, entire data should be on the same line. If you want to break that data into different number of lines, we can use the BR tag. So you note it down evenly. So text property is very important for internal examinations or external examinations. Chala easy ga untundi. Just you have to remember the things. So these are the things. BR tag, PR paragraph setting. So within the page, and free means wherever you want to display the text. So there we can display the text of the thing. So this is called the proper. So that is the basic properties. This is called a basic properties. Basic properties. But once you see that it is a basic properties, our next one is what are the representational properties. Another thing is we can see the representational properties. Next one is we can see that representational properties. Representational properties means, so you see that suppose here is we are writing, so that is the so suppose if you sometimes you can see the letters in bold. So suppose bold means, suppose if you want to print the text in the bold format, then we can use the B tag. For example, here is writing hello world text, right? So within the body, just I have written hello world text. Okay, hello world text. Or when you display this, so then when you are using this property of this basic text. Oh, right. చూడండి ఇక్కడ ఇది వచ్చేసి ఎక్స్టెన్షన్ నేమ్ వచ్చేసేసి ఇక్కడ మనం రాంగ్ ఇచ్చాం. సపోజ్ ఇక్కడ వచ్చేసిన బేసిక్ ప్రాపర్టీ ఇక్కడ కింద వచ్చేసి టెక్స్ట్ అని ఉంది. అలా కాకుండా దీన్ని ఆల్ ఫైల్స్ కింద సెట్ చేసుకొని దీన్ని .html అనుకుంటారు, .html. So now it will become a file. So basic properties. Just text will be displaying like this. Hello world. Here is text is displaying like. But if the same text, if you want to increase, if you want to make it as a bold, so then here is we can use B tag. Generally B tag is used for making the bold text. Suppose HELLO hello WRLD hello world. So then here is when you are using that B. So here is a B is a tag which which makes the text in the bold color. In the bold means suppose you see that. Suppose when you are using this is the normal text, and when you are using that here is you are getting the bold. చూడండి బ్లాక్ గా వచ్చేసింది. మన ఎంఎస్ వర్డ్ లో బోల్డ్ అనేది ఉందా? బి అని ఉంటుంది పైన ఎంఎస్ వర్డ్ లో. అర్థమైందా? Okay, B means, so that is the text is in the bold color. So text వచ్చేసేసి bold వస్తుంది. So for example, here is I will take the H1 because visibility అనేది చిన్నగా ఉంటుంది కాబట్టి సో H1 తీసేసుకుంటే పెద్దగా వస్తుంది. దాంట్లో మీకు క్లియర్లీ యూ కెన్ ఫైండ్ అవుట్ దిస్. H1 లో B తీసుకుంటున్నాను. Bold. Suppose when you see that this data, and here is we can get it as bold. So hello world is a bold and this is also bold. For example, here is there is no bold. Suppose generally text format should be if there is no header. So the simply we can print the data like this. So under H1 తీసేస్తాను ఎందుకు వచ్చిన బాధ. So then here is the B is a bold. Here is I am using hello world, same thing. సో ఎంఎస్ ఆఫీస్ లో మనకు బోల్డ్ అనేది ఉంటుంది కాబట్టి బోల్డ్ అనే ట్యాగ్ మనం ఇక్కడ యూజ్ చేస్తాం. సో దెన్ యూ సీ దట్ ఫస్ట్ వన్ ఇస్ ద హెలో వరల్డ్ జనరలీ, సెకండ్ వన్ ఇస్ ద బోల్డ్ కలర్. బోల్డ్ వచ్చింది అంటే బోల్డ్ లెటర్ బి. వెన్ యూ ఆర్ టైపింగ్ దట్ ఎంఎస్ వర్డ్ వీ కెన్ యూజ్ ద ప్రాపర్టీ ఆఫ్ దట్. ఆర్ సమ్ టైమ్స్, సో ఐ అండర్స్టూడ్ దట్ B tag is used to make bold of letters, bold letters, or that is the B tag is used for displaying a bold letters అంటే thick గా display అవుతుంది. So next one is, for example, we can see that, so italic letters. Do you know that italic form? Hello?
Yes sir. Yes sir.
Sir.
I mean, like immediate italic. Suppose if you want to print the letters in the form of italic letters, we can use the I tag. So I tag is used for displaying italic letters. Text in italic form. So text in italic form. So that is, these are the representation properties and presentation properties. Suppose the text ఎలా ఉండాలి, సో దానికి వచ్చేసేసి బోల్డ్ ఉంటుందా లేకపోతే సమ్ టైమ్స్ వీ కెన్ యూజ్ ది ఇటాలిక్ ఫార్మాట్. సేమ్ థింగ్ యూ సీ దట్, బట్ హియర్ ఈస్ బిఆర్ then you see that italic లో వచ్చిందా? హలో?
Yes sir. వచ్చింది sir.
Sir.
italic లో మీకు కనిపిస్తుందా లేకపోతే H1 అని పెడుతున్నా? కానొస్తుందా? ఓకే,
కనిపిస్తుంది సార్.
కరెక్ట్. కర్మ భాష మాట్లాడారు. ఎవర్రా మాట్లాడింది? కానొస్తుంది. ఓకే రైట్. మరి ఇప్పుడు అర్థమైంది కదా. I tag used for displaying text in the italic form, or for example, suppose the same text, suppose if you want to display the sometimes we can use superscript and superscript, right? Superscript to subscript to మనం యూజ్ చేస్తాం. సో కాబట్టి here is we can use the sub means the sub tag can be used for doing the subscripting the values. For example, here is I am writing, so that is the, so hello, and subscript I am writing. Suppose subscript means I can use like otherwise you see that here is I am taking, so suppose y, I am taking y subscript x and slash, here is we can write subscript, suppose slash sub. When you are using this, so that is the y subscript of x. Generally when you are using that sub tag, generally we can use like this. You see that y subscript of x. Have you understood that? Then you see that అంటే నేను ఇక్కడ h1 యూజ్ చేశాను అంటే పెద్ద కనిపిస్తుంది. సో ప్రతిసారి h1 ట్యాగ్ యూజ్ చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు ఇక్కడ. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద స్లాష్ h1. Then you see that you see that y పెద్దగా వచ్చింది x చిన్నగా వచ్చింది అవునా?
Yes sir.
Yeah.
Yes sir.
Subtag means
Yes, sir.
for describing the subscription of the variable we can use the subtag. Generally the subtag can be used for specifying the subscription. Or suppose if you want to give the superscript, suppose 2 to the power of x or y to the power of x, if you want to specify it y to the power of x, here is sup, that is the superscript, we can call it as a superscript, and subscript means subscript and superscript. Here is we can get the value y to the power of x. Here is the y to the power of x. Within the text, suppose when you are using that, you see that y to the power of x. We got y to the power of x, and here it is x, that is the y with the subscription of x. So that is another property of x subscript, y subscript, and next that is the bold, and the next one is the italic property, or like this. There are so many properties are available here. Then you can see that so this is the heading, or this one paragraph, and the next pre is there. Suppose when you are using that pre statement, so the simply we can use the pre statement. And the presentational, B means a bold, and next I means, so that is the italic, U means that is the underline. Suppose sometimes we can see the text in the form of underline. So here is when you see that here is that is the underline. Then you see that, and here is I am using that is underline. So U means that is the underline. Same thing, I can implement it. U. So suppose here is I am writing like this U. So instead of that, here is I am writing hello world, and here is I am writing U tag. So that is the U means underline. The text should be underlined. The text should be underlined. Slash U. U tag can be used for displaying the. So that is the underline. So మన text లో ఎప్పుడైతే if you want to change it, we can use the underline. You see that hello world with the underline. But here is there is no underline. Understood that?
Yes sir.
సో అలా అన్నప్పుడు మనకు వచ్చేసినప్పుడు అండర్లైన్ వస్తుంది. సో దెన్ హియర్ ఇస్ వెన్ యు ఆర్ యూజింగ్ దిస్ అండర్లైన్, and next suppose here is the strike off. Most of the cases I can see that work చేయొచ్చు. So that is a strike. స్ట్రైక్ టెక్స్ట్ రాసినప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తారు, ఒకవేళ ఇక్కడ హెలో వరల్డ్ ఉంది, దీన్ని సో ఇక్కడ వచ్చేసి స్ట్రైక్ ఆఫ్ కొట్టివేసినాం అంటే ఇక్కడ వచ్చి డిలీట్ చేసాం అనుకో ఒక వర్డ్ను డిలీట్ చేస్తున్నాము అంటే సో దెన్ వీ కెన్ యూస్ సో స్ట్రైక్ STRIKE స్ట్రైక్ STRIKE strike off this one, but when you are using strike చూడండి ఇక్కడ కొట్టివేసినట్టు వస్తుందా స్ట్రైక్ అనేది హలో వరల్డ్ హలో
ఎస్ సార్
నాకు ఎవరో ఒకరు ఎస్ అంటేనే నాకు మనశ్శాంతిగా ఉంటుంది లేకుంటే మీకు నేను గోడకు చెప్పినట్టు ఉంటుంది ఇక్కడ వచ్చేసినప్పుడు అంటే అనదర్ యూ ట్యాగ్ ఇక్కడ ఏం చేస్తున్నాం మనము స్ట్రైక్ సో స్ట్రైక్ ట్యాగ్ అక్కడ వచ్చేసేసి మనము యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాం సో నెక్స్ట్ వచ్చేపాటికి దెన్ వీ కెన్ యూజ్ so TT tag, so that means here is generally you see that so TT means for example if you want to print the text in the form of typewriting, suppose in the olden days we can see that so the typing, so suppose if you want to print the letters like typing, so then we can use the so that is the TT, so the TT means that is for displaying the TT. You see that here is so everything I written, but I need not to execute the same thing, but same here is I written super or something like this or next whatever I have taken this, just you see that. So here is the TT means that we can use the teletype, and here is we can write like this. So TT tag can be used for displaying the letter type like so typewriting, right? And super and superscript already we have studied, and subscript already big and small, but whenever I am using the big or big small, so the font will be displayed smaller, or big means so that is the 1 inch above, so suppose 1 font above will be printing same text nu manam vachesi so bigger or smaller ani teeseskunnamo ante then we can use bigger or a smaller, so then you see that bigger or then here is we can write, so that is B color, so suppose the same thing we can write, so that is B. So, but when you are using that big, instead of strike I am writing the big, and here is also I am writing big. It can be used to print the data in one head of, so that is the last లో పెద్దగా వచ్చేసింది బిగ్ అన్నప్పుడు దాంట్లో అదే ఒకవేళ స్మాల్ ఇచ్చామంటే రైట్ ఇక్కడ మనం ఈ స్ట్రైక్ లో ఇది తీసేసుకుంటాం. సో ఇక్కడ H1 తీసేయండి అంటే మీకు బోల్డ్ గా బిగ్ లెటర్స్ గా ప్రింట్ అవుతుంది. సో దెన్ యూ సీ దట్ ఇక్కడ చూడండి ఇక్కడ వచ్చేసినప్పుడు బోల్డ్ అంటే ఇక్కడ వచ్చేసి బిగ్. సపోజ్ వెన్ యూ ఆర్ యూజింగ్ మోర్ నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ అంటే ఒకటే ఉంటుంది కాదు పెద్ద డిఫరెన్స్ తెలియదు. బట్ అలాగే ఒక 5 to 10 బిగ్స్ పెట్టామనుకోండి బిగ్ 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 లైక్ దిస్ బిగ్ big big big, that means 1 2 3 4 5 bigs I kept, and here is also I am taking 5 closing bigs and a nested big statement 1 2 3 4 5. పెద్దగా వచ్చిందా? ఒకవేళ ఇంకా ఎక్కువ పెట్టామనుకోండి ఇంకా పెద్దగా వస్తుంది. సో కాబట్టి బిగ్ అనేది 1 ఇంచుకు పెరుగుతుంది కాబట్టి ఒక ఫాంట్ పెరుగుతుంది కాబట్టి సపోజ్ ఇఫ్ యు ఆర్ యూజింగ్ హియర్ ఇస్ ఐ యామ్ యూజింగ్ 5 నెస్టెడ్ బిగ్స్, సో దట్ ఈస్ ద 5 times it has been increased. So suppose the 10 times it will be increasing. So like this, suppose here is when you are in this is the big, ఒక 5 times పెంచామనుకోండి. Suppose here is whenever you are using that, again we are using so 5 times. అంటే 5 plus 5 10 times. When you are increasing that big, so that is the 10 times. So automatically it will become bigger. చూడండి ఇక్కడ బిగ్గర్ వచ్చింది అంటే then we can use the big. For the same thing we can use the small. So suppose whenever you are using that small is used for displaying one font less than normal size, SMALL, small. So that is here is when you are using that small, so we can use the small size. So small size automatically that will be displaying a smaller size. ఇక్కడ కింద వచ్చింది స్మాల్ సైజ్ వచ్చేసి లాస్ట్ లో కింద వచ్చింది. సపోజ్ I will keep it as a so the center. So suppose here is when you are using that small size. So small అని పెట్టాము. ఇక్కడ వచ్చేసినప్పుడు hello breaking hello world ఇచ్చాము. ఇక్కడ కూడా suppose same thing when you are given the hello world, small. So then here is you can see that it is a smaller section. ఇక్కడ చూస్తే స్మాలర్ వర్డ్, స్మాల్ అంటే మామూలు నార్మల్ గా దానికంటే కొంచెం తక్కువ, డిఫరెన్స్ కనిపించదు. బట్ వెన్ యూ ఆర్ యూజింగ్ మోర్ నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ స్మాల్స్, సో దట్ ఈస్ హియర్ ఈస్ 1 2 3 4 or here is we are using 1 2 3 4. Then we can use it. ఇంకా చిన్నగా అయిపోయింది, ఇక్కడ చూస్తే ఇంకా చిన్నగా అయిపోయింది. కాబట్టి స్మాల్ అన్నప్పుడు స్మాల్, బట్ whenever you are seeing that, sometimes we can use the underline. We can see the underline. So but how do you print the underline? For printing of that we can use the HR. So suppose here is HR line. So suppose here is we can use HR with the property width. Suppose width is equal to, that may be from 1 to 7. So suppose when you are using that is the 7, I am using that is 7, and height HEIGHT, height is equal to, or suppose you are taking 20, and color is equal to red. So then when you are using that, so here is, so it is a single tag, but when you use this, కింద ఇది చిన్న చుక్కు వచ్చింది అంటే ఇక్కడ 7 ఇచ్చినప్పుడు చిన్న. సపోజ్ వెన్ యూ ఆర్ గివెన్ ద 1, సో ఆటోమేటికలీ దిస్ విల్ బి ఇంక్రీజింగ్. ఓ చిన్నగా వస్తుంది ఇంకా. సో హైట్ width is equal to, suppose here is also 200 I am giving. ఇది వచ్చింది చూడండి, హైట్ వచ్చేసేపాటికి. సో ఇక్కడ వచ్చేసి నేను 200 ఇస్తాను, హైట్ ఈజ్ దిస్ వన్. ఇప్పుడు ఈ హెచ్ఆర్ అనేది సో మధ్యలో క్లిక్ చేసుకుంటూ వెళ్తుంటాను. సపోజ్ ఇక్కడ వచ్చేసి హెచ్ఆర్ పెట్టాను, సపోజ్ హెచ్ఆర్, అండ్ హియర్ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో ఐఎమ్ యూజింగ్ దట్ హెచ్ఆర్. సో నౌ వెన్ యూ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ దట్, అండ్ హియర్ ఈజ్ వీ కెన్ గెట్ ది లైన్స్. Then you see that the lines I am getting, line and line. Either you can print the vertical lines or horizontal lines, but when you are giving the sizes of this, suppose when you are using these sizes 2000 or suppose 200, so 200 and 2000. So line వచ్చేసింది. సో కాబట్టి width and height. For example, ఇక్కడ వచ్చేసినప్పుడు I have understood that how do you print the line? HR tag can be used for displaying the line. HR tag can be used for displaying the line. So ఈ లైన్ మనం డిస్ప్లే చేసేస్తున్నాం కాబట్టి ఈ లైన్ లో వచ్చేసేసి డిఫరెంట్ లైన్స్, సో ద డిఫరెంట్ థింగ్స్ వస్తున్నాయి. దీస్ ఆర్ కాల్డ్ ది బేసిక్ ప్రాపర్టీస్. సో దట్ ఈస్ some more things are there. So basic properties are there. So these are the basic properties we are using this. సో ఇక్కడ ఒకవేళ మీకు డౌట్ రావచ్చు, హారిజాంటల్ లైన్ మాత్రమే ఉంది, వర్టికల్ లైన్ ఎందుకు లేదని. సో వర్టికల్ లైన్ కు హారిజాంటల్ లైన్ ఏంటంటే బట్ ఓన్లీ విడ్త్ ను, సో విడ్త్ 200 చేసేసేసి హైట్ వచ్చేసేసి 2000 చేసామనుకోండి. సో దెన్ ఆటోమేటికలీ వీ కెన్ గెట్ ఇట్ as vertical line. So that is simply that will coming like this, and vertical line కు వచ్చేపాటికి అక్కడ okay. Strike pen or something like this, right? So here there is the same properties also available, but ఇక్కడ text properties నే మనం ఇస్తున్నాం. So many properties. Suppose if you want to blink the text, so text properties also there. Here is, you can see that. So previously I executed this, but here is, you see that. So text is like this, and now text is blinking, or text is underlined, and the text is moving. So this is the text is moving from left to right and right to left means. So for this purpose we can use the markers. So for this one we can use the markers. So markers tag can be used for display moving the text from left to right and right to left. And here you see that mark, M-A-R-Q-E, mark. So this is the tag we are using, mark. In the directions we can use the same thing. When you are using that, here is, you see that, and here is we are using this. So in our text we can use ఇందులో పెట్టామా. So that is the H1, mark color I, behavior is alternate, scroll is left and right, and yellow, mark of this one. Okay, you see the properties, and another one is you can see the mark. So P already we have studied, P-R A, and BR statement is already we have studied, H1 to H6, and U is underscore, I is for italic, and sometimes you can use the font also. Later I will explain the font. And so these are the some of the properties of the presentation properties of the text. Have you understood that?
Yes, sir.
Now you see that. So ఇక్కడ వచ్చేసేసినప్పుడు presentation elements ఏమేమి ఉన్నాయి అంటే ఇక్కడ వచ్చేసేసినప్పుడు automatically we can see that the basic text format elements are, one is the headings, so that is the from H1 to H6 tags, and break line, so the breaking the lines we can use, and next one is we can see the, so next one is we can see the P, that is the paragraph. Within the paragraph we can use the align statement. Either you have to print the text at the left side or right side, or like this, align is equal to right, align is equal to left, or align is equal to center, or top or down. You can write like this. So P is the probability, and so presentational means how best we are presenting the text we can represent. So that is the B is used for displaying the text in bold, or I tag is used for displaying the text in the italic font. U is used for underlining the text, but here is say that it is a deprecated, but now it is working. Or strike, STRIK, strike is used for a strike the line, for deletion of the type lone print outundi, that is the uniform. Soup means, so that is the superscript. We can print the superscript generally where we can use so that is the first, second, third, fourth, but when you are using th should be superscript. But in the whenever you are using the arrays, sometimes you can use a subscript of I. So that's why here is we can use the sub, and next big means, so that is the big is also we can use. A small means, so the text will be one letter can be the down, and this category properties. So one is the width is a 255, so the color is this one, and the size is we can use the 6 or 7 like this. 3 properties we can use. Horizontal lines, these are the so presentational skill. And another one is edit text elements. Edit text elements. So next one is in the edit text we can use the suppose if you want to delete a one word from the text, or if you want to insert one word in between, so something like this. So in that cases we can use so the delete and insert. These are called text editing elements. These are called a text editing elements. For example, you see that in the basic text properties, we can see that so then you see that width height బదులు ఇక్కడ వచ్చేసి సైజ్ తీసుకున్నామా సరే సైజ్ లైన్స్ ఎక్కడైతే ఉన్నాయో అక్కడ వచ్చేసి సైజ్ as this one. సైజ్ ఎంత పెంచితే అంత లైన్ సైజ్ వచ్చేసి మనం ఎక్కువ పెంచుకున్నాం కాబట్టి ఎక్కువ లైన్ సైజ్ వస్తుంది. సో సపోజ్ హియర్ ఈజ్ లైన్ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు సపోజ్ ఇక్కడ లైన్ వచ్చేసి 2 ఇచ్చామనుకోండి. సో దాన్ని ఇక్కడ వచ్చేసి 200 బదులు ఒకటి వచ్చేసి 20, ఆర్ నెక్స్ట్ వన్ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో దట్ స్మైల్ డిఫరెంట్. సో ఈ సైజ్ని బట్టేసేసి మనం ఏదైనా వర్టికల్ లైన్సా హారిజాంటల్ లైన్స్ అనేది మనం ఇక్కడ ప్రింట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. సో ఈ లైన్ ఇట్లా వచ్చేస్తుంది. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇదే సేమ్ లైన్ వర్టికల్గా ప్రింట్ చేయాలంటే హైట్ వచ్చేసేసి నేను 2000 తీసుకుంటాను, విడ్త్ వచ్చేసేసి ఓన్లీ సో దట్ ఈస్ ద 7 ఆర్ సంథింగ్ 100 20 తీసుకుంటాను ఫస్ట్లో. సో దెన్ ఆటోమేటికలీ ఇట్ విల్ బి ద కింద పైకి వస్తుంది, వై వస్తుంది, కింద వచ్చేపాటికి లైన్స్లో మనము డిఫరెంట్గా తీసేసుకోవచ్చు 20 ఆర్ సంథింగ్ లైక్ దిస్. ఇయర్ ఈజ్ సో ద సైజ్ అంటే కలర్ సైజ్ ఎంత వస్తుంది అన్న. సో ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ దిస్ ఈజ్ ద థింగ్, అండ్ హియర్ ఈజ్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ యూ సీ దట్ హియర్ ఈజ్ ఐఎమ్ ప్రింటింగ్ వైఎస్ఆర్. సో ఇంజనీరింగ్ College of YVU. So for example here is YSR Engineering College of YVU, and suppose when you are printing that automatically the text will be displaying YSR Engineering College of YVU. For example, by mistake what I have done, so then I written the 2 times COLLEGE college, but when you write, when you display this, here is we are getting ఓకే లాస్ట్కి వచ్చేసి వైఎస్ఆర్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ కాలేజ్. ఇవన్నీ డిలీట్ చేస్తానమ్మా. సో ఇవన్నీ ఇక్కడ వచ్చేసేసినప్పుడు ఇది పైన రాసుకుంటూ వస్తాను వైఎస్ఆర్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ కాలేజ్ ఆఫ్ యోగి వేమన యూనివర్సిటీ. సపోజ్ వెన్ యూ ఆర్ యూజింగ్ దట్ వైఎస్ ఎడిట్ ప్రాపర్టీస్ సపరేట్లీ ఐ కెన్ రైట్ దిస్ ఎడిట్ ప్రాపర్టీస్. సో బేసిక్ ప్రాపర్టీస్ ఐ థింక్ యూ అండర్స్టూడ్ దట్ బేసిక్ ప్రాపర్టీస్. సో నెక్స్ట్ వన్ is you write this as a edit properties. 2 edit text properties also there, but I am using that edit properties. First thing is you see that only simply I am using edit properties.
సార్ అటెండెన్స్ తీసుకున్నారా సార్? అటెండెన్స్ తీసుకున్నారా సార్?
సార్ టైం అవుతుంది. టైం అప్ సార్.
నెక్స్ట్ అవర్ ఎవరిది?
నెక్స్ట్ అవర్ ఫ్రీ పీరియడ్ సార్.
సో ఆర్ యు ఫాలోయింగ్ అమ్మా?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
హలో
Yes, sir.
ఇప్పుడు అంటే నాకు ఒక చిన్న డౌట్. ఇప్పుడు నేను ఇక్కడ ఓన్లీ ఇప్పుడు అంటే స్లైడ్స్ చెప్పేసుకుంటూ పోమంటారా లేదా మీకు ఇట్లా ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్ చేసుకుంటూ చూపించాలంటారా?
ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్ చేస్తూ చూపించండి సార్.
అదే ఇప్పుడైతే ఇదే స్టైల్లో మీకు అర్థమవుతుంది కదా?
ఎస్ సార్.
So that is so in this class already we have studied one is the basic properties. So that is the H1 to H6 tags, P tag,
Break.
the basic tags, right? So that is the text proper representation tags are one is the B tag, U tag, and the next I tag, that is the italic format, or next subscript SUP is a subscript SUP and SUP are next strike and mark Q. So suppose MARQ mark Q use cheste, so then text will be moving, but actually here is
Big
sometimes the mark Q so depends on editor. Suppose that may be deprecated, so by using CSS we can create all these things, right? So that is so these are the things. And edit commands are only two. One is the insert and another one is the delete. Next, what is the next hour?
Java.
Evarthama next hour?
Java, sir. Java.
Java.
Java na?
Yes, sir.
జావా.
Okay, sir, no problem. In the next class I will continue this edit properties and this one, right?
Sir, slides share
Thank you,
చేస్తారా సార్?
Emma,
స్లైడ్స్ షేర్ చేస్తారా సార్?
ఎందుకు చేస్తాను రా?
సార్ పంపించండి.